Loki gets therapized. How do you deal with button pushers? The people in your life who just love to get under your skin and piss you off. Mended Light. Alright, we're taking a look at Loki Season 2 on Disney+. The character of Loki, he's the god of mischief in Norse mythology, and I think it's super fun of Marvel to take Norse gods like Thor and Odin and Loki and turn them into actual superheroes and supervillains. Loki is known through the films as being someone who loves to irritate people, especially his brother Thor. Loves to push his buttons and get under his skin.
You know this, you call yourself Lord of Thunder. God of Thunder.
I've never met this man in my life.
He's my brother.
Adopted.
And now Loki's gonna come face to face with someone who's a lot like him. Now, if you're not watching the show, mild spoilers, this is an alternate universe version of Loki, because the one from the films follows his character arc. But you saw in Infinity War, he takes the stone and he gets taken into what's called the Time Variance Authority. This version of Loki is now trying to be a hero. He's undergoing what we call a redemption arc, and he comes across this guy named Brad. And Brad is one of the hunters of the Time Variance Authority. Brad hunts people who are off their established timeline and by doing so starting alternate universes, right? And now they've apprehended Brad because Brad kind of hypocritically went off and started living life as a movie star in the 1970s and hanging out with supermodels and drinking the champagne. And they've brought him back because they need his help finding somebody. But he's not playing ball, and Loki tells him there are lives at stake to try and get through to him.
Oh, you've got some nerve. There are lives at stake. Everyone here knows what you're doing, you know. You're just trying to make up for all the terrible, awful shit you've done in your life, you pathetic little man.
Okay, that's enough.
No, it's riveting. Keep going, I want to hear more.
Good. See, everything you and Sylvie have ever done to try to help has only ever made it worse.
Is that right?
See, I've read your file. It's you. You're the problem. Every time we've ever found a you. Problem is, you think you're special, but you're not. So it doesn't matter what outfit you put on, play dress up, or what little lies you tell your friends, or even the lies you tell yourself. At the end of the day, you just make everything worse. For Mobius, for B-15, for your mother.
Loki's kind of responsible for his mother's death. That's what you do. You make things worse.
You lose. You're a loser.
Loki.
Stop trying to be a hero, man. You're a villain. You're good at it. Do that.
Right under the skin.
Thank you, Brad. Very much. I really am touched. You know, you're right. I have done some terrible, awful things. Yeah, maybe that is who I am. You know, he knows.
I want to break down what this looks like for us. Brad is deflecting. Trying to hold Brad accountable, and he's turned it back. It's a form of defensiveness called a counterattack. That when you try and hold someone responsible for their behavior, they point out to you that you have no authority to do that because of your mistakes. And it's easy to get tripped up in this because oftentimes what they're saying is right. I mean, Brad's a jerk, but he's not wrong. Loki loses. This is established. This is his predetermined purpose in the timeline. They say it in Loki Season 1. You exist to help others become the best version of themselves by defeating you. Maybe you feel like you can't escape the shadow of your past. That long arm. Maybe you've hurt people that you care about. Maybe you've made mistakes that are very public or very private, and you carry them here. Maybe you're trying to be a better version of yourself, and there are people in your life who say, "Who are you kidding?" Maybe they do it because they don't want you to rise up. Maybe they do it because they want you to stay down in the mud with them and hold you back. Or maybe they do it like Brad because you're trying to hold them accountable and they're getting defensive and counterattacking. What I love about Loki in this scene is you could see it getting under his skin. It's a brilliant performance by Tom Hiddleston when Brad mentions his mother. And you could see Loki kind of keeping the veneer of smarm up, and the moment Brad says that, his face just drops. And Mobius is over here going, Loki? Because he's worried that Loki's going to lose his shit and start beating the crap out of him. And what I love about what Loki does here is for a character who historically has blamed his behavior on his father, on his brother, on being adopted but not told, about being lied to for thousands of years, for all these reasons, or that I deserve a throne, that I was born to this, all of his hubris and all of his rationale for not being accountable for his actions, starting in season 1, starts to come down. And you all know me, I have an accountability kink. Okay, I think accountability is sexy. I think taking responsibility for your actions is about the hottest thing there is, because it's the only way we heal. And it's the only way we grow. And Loki's taken a lot of steps into his redemptive journey, and now Brad's reminding him of all this stuff. And instead of fighting him, and instead of telling Brad to shut up, instead of telling him you're wrong and here's why you're wrong, he simply says, you're right. I've done terrible, awful things. And maybe you're right about me. Maybe I'm supposed to be the villain and I have no business trying to be a hero. And that's the end of the clip that we have here. But what that does is it deflates what Brad's going for. Because Loki is now able to step right back into holding Brad accountable. It's like, listen, if we want to talk about me and my mistakes, we can talk about them. I'm not afraid to face them. But that's not what we're doing right now. We're trying to save lives and we're trying to hold you responsible for your behavior. And that is one of the best ways to deflate any form of defensiveness. Or, for that matter, any form of criticism. Because Brad's being very critical of Loki here. When we take accountability, it takes the wind out of the sails of the other person. They have no way to go. They're trying to press our buttons and get under our skin. I have a son who does this. That when I'm trying to hold him accountable, he holds up a mirror and says, here's all your mistakes. And I found the fastest way to just sidestep that is to not sidestep it, is to go right through it and say, you're right. And I'm working on myself. Thank you for reminding me of how far I've come and how far I have to go. And then he's like, and I'm like, so about how you were treating your brother. Boom, and we're right back into it.
Right back at you, man.
So Brad's going to pivot, right? It's not working with Loki. So he's going to set his sights on Mobius. Now, this is a major spoiler, but Mobius was taken from a life, a previous life, his memory erased, and he was set to work. And Mobius is doing his job to keep the galaxy together, and he keeps getting people asking him, well, aren't you curious about what life you were living before on Earth, before you were taken here? Don't you want to know before your memories were erased? And he says to Loki, he says, I'm scared to, because what if it was good? Then how could I do what I have to do every day to save lives here, right? But Brad's going to turn to Mobius and start pushing his buttons.
You know they took us. You know they took our lives, and you're still here. I mean, it's kind of weird, man. I mean, you need to wake up.
I'm awake.
Yeah, no, you're asleep. You need to wake up, Mobius. And until you do, you're nothing. She's nothing. I don't even know where to start with that, but you're nothing here. And until you wake up, you're just a nowhere man. You're a nowhere man. You're a silly little man.
You're a nowhere man. You're a silly little man. This entire series is some of Owen Wilson's best work. Because usually I think you hire Owen Wilson to play a role because you're hiring a personality, not an actor. You know, you're just hiring Owen Wilson for your movie. But in this, he really inhabits the role, and I think he's so good. And I love that he told Loki before going in, he's going to try and get under your skin, so don't let him. And Mobius broke really fast.
That was not the plan.
And people will do this. If they can't reach one person, then they'll pivot to another. Now, we're going to take a look at what Loki does with his enhanced interrogation techniques, which is not what I would recommend you do for people in real life. But I want us to look for things here that represent things to do and things not to do when you're dealing with a button pusher in your life.
I swear, I don't know where they are.
Brad, you're so convincing. I want to believe you, but you're such a good actor.
Look, I really don't know, I swear.
You're so
You
talented.
did not tell me the plan.
Please tell me the truth.
Okay.
I know you're lying.
Okay, I lied, okay, I did. I was supposed to go look for Sylvie, but then I bailed, okay, I bailed.
So they told you to go after Sylvie, and you bailed.
Yeah,
What's the penalty for a highly decorated field officer abandoning his mission? You and Docs, I don't buy it.
okay. Look, I swear, okay, I went down there and I went to get my life, okay, because none of this is real.
Well, if none of this is real, I guess you aren't either. Just tell me where Sylvie is, Brad.
I'll tell you where she is. She has a new life.
There you go. Got there in the end. Why do you make this so hard on yourself, Brad?
Loki goes full Jack Bauer.
One thing. You said you bailed on the mission.
Yeah, but I found her first. She's on a branch.
He knows where Sylvie is.
See? A little bit of mischief.
Only as good as your plan.
Thank you. Let's go, Zaniac.
Now you're telling me that was...
Hell of a performance.
All right, if I tell you where she is, are you gonna let me go?
You're gonna show us.
So Loki decides to step into, if he thinks I'm the villain and that I'm going to do something terrible, we might as well just run with that, right? Now, in the show, bullying and intimidation of the bully is the key. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that in real life. What I would recommend is if it's a person who's not going to grow, who's not going to change, and you're able to walk away, walk away. Sometimes they're family. And in family situations, it may not be that easy. My son is a button pusher. I'm not walking away from my son, okay? I'm going to keep him in my life. But what I recognize is that if I do what Loki does here, and if I bully the bully, all I'm teaching him is that this is how the world works. What I have discovered when dealing with button pushers is they need structure, they need follow through and consistency. When you say, if you treat me this way, then I'm going to leave. If you treat me this way, then you're going to spend the afternoon in your room, right? And they need you to follow through. Because they'll do what Brad tries to do in the beginning of this clip, which we didn't have, which is once he sees that Loki's playing hardball, he apologizes and he says, I'm sorry for saying what I said about your mom. I'm sorry for saying that you should just be a villain. And Loki leans into it and says, no, you're right. I am a villain. So let's do this. With people, especially with family members or friends or loved ones or coworkers, take accountability when they call you out on stuff. If what they're saying is true, or there's a kernel of truth to it, own what's true about it, and then you let the wind out of their sails. If what they're saying is false, you don't need to fight to convince them. Because then you're just engaging in this dance that they want to pull you into, this back and forth. They've already made up their minds. And you don't need to convince them anyway. That's a self-worth issue. Like, if I can get them to see who I really am, then I like myself more. Let it go.
Let it go, let it go.
And then if it's somebody like a child that you have authority over, to show consistency in what the consequences are, to show accountability, because that's what you're trying to get them to take, and also to model staying calm. My mom used to say, if someone is rude to you or cruel to you and you respond back, then people just hear a petty argument. But if they say something hurtful to you and you say nothing, what everybody else hears is their rudeness echoing through the air. So when you're dealing with button pushers, if you stay calm, if they don't get the response, sooner or later they give up. Sooner or later they pivot to Mobius, they do something else because it's not going to work with you. So these are lessons of what to do, what not to do from Loki when dealing with button pushers and people who try and get under your skin. What advice do you have? What experience do you have with this? What has been helpful and what has been catastrophic as you've tried to deal with these types of people in your life? Let us know in the comments below. Did you enjoy Loki Season 2? What were your thoughts? What were the highlights for you? We want to hear. And if you like this, we've got a whole series of Marvel videos for you right here. Until next time, folks, keep shining because we need your light.